found sheepless needles. I'm Shannon, and this is my vegan podcast that's not really about being vegan, but it's about all sorts of kooky fun things like knitting and beer drinking and gaming and cute and awesome bunnies. Uh, Pull up a chair, grab a beverage, get some knitting, get some doodling, do some color, I don't know, do something, and let's hang out. Disclaimer for the show today. Behind us, we have brothers Orwell and Harvey, and you're going to notice that Harvey is the one that's kind of hopping around and his head is tilted. Well, it's because he has a condition called head tilt. Uh, Many bunnies have a, I don't know if I want to call it a virus or a bacteria that lays dormant in their brain called E. caniculi. And in times of stress or an illness or just everyday life, the E. caniculi can come out of dormancy and it causes all sorts of horrible problems. Head tilt is one of them. Uh, Harvey actually doesn't have E. caniculi at all anymore. He's gone through 2 treatment regimens over a long span of time. He just has the residual effects of head tilt. So he's perfectly fine. He's perfectly mobile. He eats, he hops, he drinks, and he plays. He just does it a little differently than bunnies you're probably used to seeing. Um, but we love him. He's also blind. So there's that too. So you might see him just kind of bump into things. But he's just so handsome, you guys. So you enjoy Harvey and Orwell in the background. They have another partner that is actually underneath my feet who probably will not come out, named Nano, and she is a lop-eared bunny who's kind of like a cream color, so you may see her periodically go back and forth. And then obviously it's rest day for these guys, so we'll talk about them another day. But anyway, Harvey and Orwell are your entertainment for the podcast. And just to give a little backstory to them, they were born at our house. We rescued their parents in a little bit of a terrifying rescue on private property where we had some really sketchy neighbors who probably either would have called the cops on us or shot us. I'm not sure which. But we rescued their parents, Gertie and Edward. And Gertie, as soon as we got her to the house, maybe 2 nights later, she gave birth to her babies. These are the 2 remaining babies that we have for the rescue. We adopted out 2 of her babies. One of her babies did not make it, which that can happen in times of stress. But so yeah, that's Harvey and Orwell. Gertie passed away earlier during the pandemic, and we think she was probably around 13. She was very, very old, very, very happy. We miss her. Edward died quite some time ago, probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He had a heart condition, and I think the good news is I don't think that genetically his kids got his heart condition. So there's that. So anyway, those are the bunnies for today. And my beer for today, let's talk about that. It is called Creep Show. It is by a local brewery called Warped Wing, which is probably my husband's going to be mad that I say this. This is probably my favorite Dayton brewery. He loves Dayton Beer Company. I do too, but I really love Warped Wing, and I love them because they have my 2 favorite beers of all time. And the first one was Baltic Argonaut, which I can't really figure out if they're actually even making it anymore, but it was a Imperial Russian porter. And then this would be my other one, which is Creep Show, and it's a smoked porter. So they put this out during the fall. The ABV on it is 6.66, which I'm sure they fudge it a little bit, but I'm good with that. And we used to have in Dayton a TV show called The Creep Show, and Mr. Creep was the kind of the host of the show, and they would show B-grade horror movies. And he did a lot for charity. I think he worked with the Shriners. He did become ill, I want to say maybe in the last 5 years. I can't remember exactly. I'll have to look it up and maybe we can put it in the notes. I do believe he developed a type of cancer that ended up taking his life. And I think is sorely missed by so many people locally. And I think his tradition is carried on by all the people who he touched, helped, and who loved him. So anyway, cheers to Mr. Creep. Here's Creep Show. And I actually don't know, now that I've talked about Mr. Creep and the Creep Show, I don't know if Warp Wing is basing this on Creep Show or not. So hang on, let me adult for a minute and grab my glasses, and you guys can say hi to Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Did you see how crabby she looked? She's a crabby cat. That's okay. She's old. She's allowed. Little grumpiness when you get elderly is an okay thing. I support it. Only because I'm getting old. Okay, so let's just read the back of this. It says, when night falls, spirits rise. A ghostly figure, a red-headed woman. What? Okay. Drifts the city tracks, eternally lost. Well, that could be me. The anguish of the departed, a man who impaled himself on an orchestra pit chair, chills a historic. Let's try to read like a normal human being, because that just came out like garbage. The anguish of the departed, a man who impaled himself on an orchestra pit chair, chills a historic theater. Forlorn howls and scraping claws, wolves, buried with their owner alive, seep from a nearby mausoleum. Creep show, smoked porter, smoky, malty, dark as Dayton without a moon. So I guess it's not really related to Creep Show or Mr. Creep, but to me, they're related in my heart, and I guess that's all that matters. Let's open it. Oh my gosh, that was a big segue for me drinking beer. We're going to ignore that my watch just went off. It's probably saying, don't drink. That's okay. All right. Oh, Maggie. She needs her feet trimmed, and she just nailed my leg. Okay, so this has been the longest longest intro to the episode of Sheepless Needles that I think I've had to date. So I do apologize. If you're returning, you know I just ramble on. And if you're new, you probably already turned me off. Turn me back on. I'll get to the good stuff here right now. Okay, so the last time I did my little podcast, I did roll a d6 to determine what I would kind of be knitting on in the following 2 weeks. I knew that I wanted to finish a sweater I had been working on, but I also have, I don't even want to discuss how many whips I have on needles around my house right now, but I need to get my act together and kind of clean this stuff up and finish some things. So I actually finished some things because I have a lot in progress and not a lot to show. Yes. Okay. So, the sweater. Did I finish it? Hell no. Did I come close? No. That's okay though, because you know what? Sometimes life happens and you have to do other things. And that's kind of what happened to me. The cool thing was that I did have friends come down from Columbus who I had not seen for the entirety of the pandemic, or probably for about 2 years prior to that when they moved. And so we went over to Dayton Beer Company and had beers and hung out. It was a lot of fun. So Kristen, if you're listening before you go to sleep, rock-a-bye Kristen on a treetop. I'll sing you a little lullaby so you can go to sleep to my soothing, annoying, scratchy, hoarse voice. Okay, so here she is. This is the Let's Boogie sweater. Look how cute. Okay, first of all, the last time you guys saw this, I only had the yoke done. Like, I think I was right here. And I had not done the duplicate stitching on the ghosts to give them their little faces. But what's really cute, and I don't know if the camera can pick this up. Oh, you can barely see it. You guys, they have rosy cheeks. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you can't, it's not picking up on camera. But they have little rosy cheeks. They're so cute. And then obviously I'm on the body, as you can see. And I think I probably have another 6 inches I need to do here. I don't like super short sweaters on me. I don't necessarily need to cover my tuchus or anything, but I don't know. So anyway, I've tried it on several times. It fits. One day this will be done, and it will certainly be done for next year. Maybe I'll just maybe this will be my Christmas sweater. You never know. Ghosts have to celebrate Christmas too. You know. So on this, I am using Premier Everyday Basic DK yarn. It's 100% acrylic. I I have no complaints about this yarn, and obviously I did Halloween colors. So there's a gold and orange, and the cream is the main color of the body. And I actually like the pattern a lot. The pattern is by Katie Franceschi, who is part of I'm not going to remember where she works. Yarnlove.com. Okay, so it's really well written, and it there's so many sizes you can do, and I am doing the medium large, which people who know me immediately were like, "What are you doing that you're going to swim in that?" I don't know what it is, but I must look smaller to people than I really actually am because my measurements are dead on the medium large. And I don't know why people think I'm a small. I don't know what, maybe it's because I'm flat chested. I don't know what the deal is. So I'm doing the medium large, and I chose to do that because one, I definitely didn't want this to be a tight fitting sweater. I like baggier sweaters, and particularly with it being a kind of festive Halloween sweater, I don't know. I just wanted it to be a little bit bigger, so there should be some room in there for me. And I think it's like a 3-inch hem at the bottom. So I'll try it back on and figure out how much more I have to do. I would say the body I will probably be done with in 2 weeks. And then the arms, I'll be on Sleeve Island. And I will just go to Sleeve Island when I need a break from other things. I am knitting these on today. I think these are on the Chia Goos, which I never pronounced correctly, so I apologize. But these are size 4 for the body. You use anywhere from size 3 to size 5 in the sweater just to do different things. You do the yoke in a larger needle size than you do the body, and then you do the hem in the smallest needle that you pick, which makes sense because of tension reasons. You know, you're going to want something a little bit bigger for your stitching for the yoke. This is my first colorwork sweater, and I've talked about it before that I have some tension issues, but it just gives me room to grow and things I need to learn. But honestly, I still love it, and I think it's super cute, and I cannot wait to have it done. And I will wear this any month of the year. It will not matter that it's not Halloween to me. So that is the sweater that I've been working on. Yeah, so no complaints. I think it's going to be super cute. You know, when I knit it, when we had, okay, first of all, this past Sunday was trick or treat. And we had probably about 200 trick or treaters, I would say. And I just sat outside and knit and just handed out candy and had a good old time. One person asked me about the sweater. Oh, I think it's hysterical. Kids don't care. Kid, they don't care. They have zero F's to give. We all know that. Okay, so in accompanied to that, when I rolled my D6, the way I set it up is I had 5 projects. So 1 to 5 was a number project. If on the off chance I rolled a 6, I was going to pick what I wanted to work on. Well, I friggin' rolled the 6, and I really, universe is a cruel mama because you know what I picked. I picked the stupid shawlography that I've been working on. So that is the secondary project is Stephen West's shawlography MKAL 2021. The final clue's out. I'm not giving anything away, and I got cat hair stuck on my lips. So first of all, if you are doing the MKAL and you're way behind like me and you don't want to even have a spoiler of being on clue 2, then tune out. But I'm just gonna guess that everybody else is way ahead of me because I'm not even done with clue 2. So I'm still on week 2. Now I'm at the end of it, but that's where I'm sitting. So I think what I'm also going to do, and we'll cut the footage in, I did get an overhead iPhone chicha so that I could film. I will probably do some overhead shots and zoom in so you can see some of the detail on this, because it is very hard to see when I hold anything up because I can never get the camera stage left, stage right correctly. So, okay, so this is exhibit A of me not knowing what I'm doing. Hey Steve, I edited myself. What do you think? You didn't need to do a beep there because I didn't drop the F-bomb. Okay. You know, we could spend 2 hours of me just trying to figure out how to hold something in front of a camera. Okay, let's get real here. Okay, I'm just gonna hold it this way, and we're gonna start. If you look at my shirt where it says Afghan Whigs, where the G is, that little white half moon is actually section 1. Very quick, very easy. I forget what kind of cast on it was, but it's one that he does frequently. Section 2 are those pipedge. I invented a new word. Are the pie wedges that are coming off that half moon. And then section 3, let's just come in a little bit, is that kind of crossover gold stitch over the other colors. And then section 4 or 5, I don't even know what section I'm on, are these the black shrimp, the yarn shrimp. And then that was week 1, okay? So week 2 picked up where you pick up your yarn shrimp, right? And you have this kind of drop stitch stripe here, and that went into welts, which I had never done before, which then went into a slip stitch triangle, which then goes into what I like to call pom-pom socks, bobbles. And then the finale, which is what I'm working on, are these, get the finished one here. They're just like stripe wedges, short row wedges. So they kind of lengthen the shawl. I am on the left wedge, which is the last section of clue 2. Now, I want to be really frank and honest about what happened and why I slowed down to a crawl and my heart rate and blood pressure probably went through the roof. I was finishing up wedge number 1, and I don't know what the hell happened, but like my hands had this crazy spasm and I dropped like umpteen stitches off my needles. Not working with Tencel before, which is that's what this is. It's 100% fingering weight Tencel yarn from LeRoo Crochet. I will link it in the show notes. Anywho, I dropped the stitches, and immediately, and I hope someone gets this, immediately my entire face flushed. Like, I had sweat dripping down my armpits. Like, I was bright red. I had to take my sweater off. And I was sitting down here because I don't know what I was doing, but I was knitting down here. I immediately put it down and realized, I shined a light on it. I was like, I don't see the stitches. Like, I could not even find them. So I SOS called my sister. Shout out Catherine, who tried to help me in my flushedness. I was beside myself. Now, she walked me through a couple things. We fixed a couple things, and then I literally, I, I, I did some knitting that wasn't knitting on it. I put it down. I don't think I cried, but I think I was like super upset because I was like, I didn't have a lifeline in it. And this is exactly what happened to me during the hybrid knitting knit along last year. And I have, hold on. Got a cat in my lap. In this bag, sorry, there is a weird glare, but in this bag is my hybrid knitting shawl, which is hibernating probably forever because a similar thing happened. And I dropped stitches and it was on a setup row and I couldn't figure out how to get it back. And I'm going to have to frog back so far on that that it made me not want to knit it. So it went in a bag and that's where it went. So when I dropped the stitches on my shawlography, I immediately was right back where I was a year ago when I had the debacle with the Winter Lights shawl. It is defeating, it is upsetting, it is frustrating. It's all of those things, right? And I need to learn when to stop, put it down, and walk the F away. If I had just walked away and calmed down and not been freaking out, I probably could have fixed it a lot better than I did. And I do have a photo of the fix, so we'll try to put that in as well with the overhead shot. And Catherine really helped. Like, I mean, really, really helped. I went to sleep and I kept dreaming about this stupid shawl. But in my dream, I fixed it. And so I woke up, I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So on Sunday morning, I sat down and I had a spotlight on it because people, really dark yarn is very hard to fix for me. So, or when you're trying to pick up drop stitch, they're hard to see. So I set that up. I set up my phone so I could use it to zoom in and look at it. And I would say about 45 minutes later, I had ripped back, I think I ripped back about 10 rows of the wedge. And then I was able to actually see the stitches that needed to be picked up. And that's what I did. I put a lifeline in at that point on that wedge, which I need to remember that I did that because I didn't take it out. And I completed that wedge and then I started the left wedge. So I'm way behind because of my mistake. And I'm okay with that because really I knew I was not going to be knitting this in 4 weeks like everybody else, because I'm just not that quick of a knitter and I have other stuff in my life that I'm doing that takes a little bit more precedence, i.e. hanging out with friends and all of that. So anyway, that is what happened with the shawlography. I had a huge setback. And one of the things that Catherine said to me, she's like, Shannon, do you remember what you said in your last podcast? It's like knitting in reverse. I was like, that's what you needed to say to me when I was freaking out. She's like, I'm not saying that to you when you're freaking out. I was like, well, it would have worked. But it is true. When I sat down and I ripped back, I could kind of see like where I went wrong, how I went wrong, all of that, like in terms of like my first fix, because my first fix was just a disaster and I knew I needed to rip it out. I was just concerned that in ripping it out, I would never find a row that I could pick up properly. But it has happened, it is fine, and we're moving forward. So I'm going to continue on that in the next 2 weeks. I don't know how long. I think I'll probably have this done mid-December. That's going to be my guess because I've got other things that I need to knit. I'm knitting a holiday gift for someone. I'm knitting a project for Steve. I've obviously got my sweater I want to finish. And, you know, I'd like to see people and I'd like to go out and do things. Like today, we're going to go get pizza at a local place and then we're going to go to a bar that's called D20. And it's a bar that doesn't have TVs or music playing, but it's a bar that you can just game at. So there's like people are playing D&D there. You can like bring your own board game, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're meeting friends for dinner and then we're going to head up there and we're going to do one of the Hunt a Killer boxes, I think, which I've never done one. So I'm super excited about that. I will report back. In fact, I might film a little bit tomorrow and throw it on the tail end to let you know how everything goes. But when you have a social life or when you're trying to reclaim your social life from a global pandemic, sometimes you do need to pull yourself out of your singular knitting habit. And I'm not going to say that I'm a shy person because I'm not necessarily a shy person, but I am a little bit introverted and I think the pandemic really, really brought that out. And I need to learn to put my knitting down and be a human being. Not that I'm not a human being when I knit, but you know what I'm saying. Like go do people things with people, you know. So that's my knitting schedule. And in terms of I guess it's not a knitting schedule. It's a mindset of like understanding that yes, I want to get this stuff done, but human relationships are important as well. PSA. Um, again, you know, I made a huge boo boo. I had a huge freak out. Like I can't even tell you the amount of sweat. Like it was insane. So if that has that ever happened to you? Have you ever made a mistake in your knitting that you've just been like the floor drops out? Leave it in the comments. I cannot be the only person. So I'm just going to be flat out honest. That's what happened. I had a moment. My sister reeled me in. I dreamt about it. And then I regrouped. I refocused, got my mind right, got my head right, buckled down, and I fixed it. So, lesson learned, maybe. We'll see. You know it's going to happen again. All right, so the other things that I've gotten over the past 2 weeks that I want to talk about. Well, first of all, we need to talk about some games. Y'all, ESO. My character, Drotava, he's a Khajiit. He's very handsome. If you've never played ESO, it's Elder Scrolls Online. It is a blast. And if you play any online games and you have not checked out ESO, you got to check it out because it's a lot of fun. So anyway, my character, I finally hit level 50. That's your level cap, which is awesome. His name is Drotava. He has a... Who's his companion right now? Is it a bat or is it a dog? I have different companions that I bring with me. Anyway, maybe we'll do a screenshot of our group photo because we have a group photo of the people we play with. So anyway, ESO lit for Halloween. They did a huge like I don't even know what you want to call it, like a festival for Halloween where you go in every day and get different things and do fun things. It was so much fun, but we played so much ESO. Like we're ESO'd out. So now there is a new DLC that I think just popped last week called Deadlands. I have not checked it out. I will check it out. Skyrim's not an online game. Skyrim, you're on your own. It's probably my all-time favorite game, followed by Half-Life and then System Shock, I would say would be the order of that. Um, and that might be because of my age, because I remember when Half-Life went into development by Valve, we followed it, we did beta for it. When it came out, that was such a huge deal. It was such a huge deal. Such a great game. I'm sure they've remastered it. I'm sure you could play it if you've never played it. System Shock is another one that's really good. But anyway, Skyrim and ESO, there is just so much fun. So check them out if you haven't. And you can meet people online and join guilds and do things like that in ESO. So you're not just by yourself. And if you don't want to, chat with other people, you don't have to. Like it's not, you don't have to. So there was that. So there was ESO. And then I got in the mail, I ordered a dice. What's wrong with me? I ordered a dice kit for Wild Behind the Witchlight. So it comes in like a little box here. I'll show it to you, but let me show you the dice. Okay, they're so orange that they match my skin. And I don't know. I'm not good at this. See that? Those are the dice. Okay, so it comes in yada yada yada. This cute little box, which I adorbs, right? Kind of matches me. And then the inside of this, both sides are have like, I don't know, fabric of some sort. So it's a good rolling surface. So you have two rolling trays. But within this, they send you And this is probably the coolest part about it. Like they send you larger cards of different characters you may run into with their story. There's all sorts of stuff in here, and I don't really want to give it all away, but if you're going to DM, this kind of stuff is super helpful to have. There's also a map that you can give the players once they reach a certain point, and if you don't want to see the map, look away, but I doubt you guys care. So it's like a map. Hi. Yeah, Vanna White, I'm not. So it comes with that, and on the back side, there's just some cool artwork. Anyway, it's a great little tool for DMs because it has tips and tricks and just crap you need when you're running a game. So I am going to run Wild Behind the Witchlight for Steve. So I'm prepared. I also picked up the Dungeon Master's Screen Dungeon Kit. And this is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a screen which has really awesome artwork on it. Here, let me open this bad boy up. Oh yeah. Okay, so like this is your screen that you sit behind. Look at that. Look. Oh, oh, glare. How awesome is that? But anyway, on the flip side are all your cheats that you need to know when you're running it. And this is strictly for dungeon crawling. And to be honest, I don't know how unusual I am, but dungeon crawling, what is going on with the hair? Dungeon crawling is probably one of my favorite things to do. I mean, I love a good role play, but let me tell you, dungeon crawling is the best. So I picked that up, and it also came with this like little card box. Well, you had to kind of tear them out, the sheets, but it's dungeon grids, and you can kind of make your own dungeons. You just hook them together. You can blow them up, draw them on paper, whatever. Anyway, if you want a dungeon on the fly, there you have it. So I look forward to using both of those because we know I love my Dungeons and Dragons. I have not picked up Fitzban's Treasury or Trove of Dragons or whatever it's called, and I will. And maybe I'll do that today or tomorrow. I don't know. There's not enough time for my hobbies, you guys. I just want to knit and play D&D. I need to parlay this into a paying career somehow, and I don't know. Oh, you guys, Nano showed up. That's Nano. I will figure out how to do camera eventually. Everybody's asleep. I want to take a nap too. So anyway, not enough time for all my hobbies. Like I said, I just want to knit. I just want to play D&D, maybe some ESO. Steve wants to go ahead and buy Fallout 76. Let me just tell you about Fallout 76. This girl pre-ordered Fallout 76 before it came out. Yeah, I got the collector's edition for Xbox. That game was such a shit show when it launched. I am still bitter. I am still mad. I'm still salty. Shannon, it's a really good game now. People have been talking about it online. It's going to have to be really good for anybody else like me who tried to play that when it launched. Bethesda, I don't know what you were doing, but that was a shit show. And I think you know it was a shit show. You're not even watching this. Todd Howard isn't watching me knit. You guys, it's November. Where did the time go? I feel like this year has flown by. Part of the issue. Well, excuse you, Harvey. Are you thirsty? Can you guys hear him? I don't think the boom's picking it up. He's a loud drinker, kind of like me. You're so handsome, though. Okay, we got to wrap this up because I'm just talking about nothing. Okay, goals: to be happy, to not let stress enter my noggin and stay there in the next 2 weeks. Um, Knit a little, have some fun, do holiday things. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. Hey guys, future Shannon. I was just getting ready to start editing and I wanted to look up the information about Creepshow and I completely butchered it. So I wanted to insert this in here so you could get the full story. I was talking about Dr. Creep and he had a TV show called Shock Theater. I was way off. I don't know what I was thinking. So, anyway, a little information on Dr. Creep. He was actually, his name was Barry Lee Hobart. He was a local TV personality widely known as Dr. Creep. He was a horror movie host on WKEF television in Dayton, Ohio. So he actually passed away in 2010. So I don't know why I thought it was 5 years ago because apparently time moves differently after you hit 50. So anyway, he did a lot of charity work. It wasn't actually the Shriners. He supported many local charities. He worked with the MDA with their annual Labor Day telethon. And he created and co-founded a project called Project Smiles that collected toys every Christmas for children in Dayton. The charity is still going on today. Um, he had festivals over Halloween to raise money for the charity. He just did a lot of different things. So anyway, it's not Mr. Creep and it wasn't Creep Show. It was Dr. Creep and Shock Theater. So I'm fired from my own podcast. Peace out.